Hey YouTube, it's Wes. If there's been one thing that has blown up in crypto in 2020 and into 2021, it has been yield farms. Yield farms have given so much potential. They were born out of the power of DeFi, and we've really seen a revolution. But we still have some problems when it comes to yield farms. Which one do we choose? See, they're not for the faint of heart. They are laden with risk. They are difficult to choose from, and where many people, including me, are like, which one do I pick and when? And I don't have time to switch between them. Is there a way to sort through this mess? Well, maybe. In today's video, we're going to cover a really interesting crypto called Sensible.Finance, or Sensi. I think it's pretty cool, and I'm going to share why I like it and what the future holds in this innovative crypto. All of this and so much more coming right up. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me today. Again, I can't tell you how much you all mean to me. I love going down this crypto journey and this financial freedom journey with you. I've been covering crypto pretty heavily in this channel for quite a while, and I'm going to continue that. I may eventually branch into some other topics around being an entrepreneur and creating your own financial freedom, but look, this has been so much fun. I am Wes Spencer. If we have never met before, I'm an entrepreneur. I am a cryptocurrency nerd, and I love cybersecurity, and all of those things revolve around this channel right here. So if this is the first time you have ever met me, hey there, I am so glad you're here. Would you hit like and subscribe, and definitely hit the bell icon because you'll stay in touch with all of the new stuff that I have coming out. Look, we have hit the 50,000 subscriber threshold. I'm halfway to a creator award. That's incredible. I started this just because I was interested in creating a YouTube channel just to share my thoughts. I'm not a moon pumper, never going to be. I'm even not a full-time YouTuber. I do this stuff when I want to, how I want to, and I like to break all the rules. And so I'm just glad you're here, and I'm glad you guys are staying with me in this journey. I have some really exciting news coming up later to share with you really soon about some rebranding and some ways you can get involved with me a little bit more. Stay tuned on that, my friends. It's all coming up really, really soon in the month to come. All right, so we're talking about Sensible.Finance today. It's really cool. It's a very innovative crypto. I've actually had the opportunity to talk with the founders. I like what they're doing. I like the transparency, and I'm going to get involved in it. In today's video, I'm not just going to get involved. I'm going to stake some of my crypto with them because I want to see what this looks like. And I'll definitely produce a follow-up video later once we see how these things happen, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's jump to what matters. I'm just going to show you the website, and we're going to start there because I realize many of you may be brand new to Sensible and you may not have seen it before and unaware of where it's come from. It's really, really young. So a lot of times, sometimes I take the punishment on this channel and I produce a video that's like way ahead of its time, and it will take months, if not a year, to really cycle through not just the SEO, but the attraction of the masses, so to speak. I shared with this earlier this week. I did a video actually over a year ago on Keep Network. It took a while, but now Keep is blown up. It's a top 25 trending crypto, and I was like one of the very first to produce one on that. And so I'll do that often. And Sensible is an example of this. It's a brand new crypto. It's super new, but I like it because it checks a lot of my innovation boxes that I'm looking at. So here it is right here. The website is beautiful, isn't it? I mean, it's completely gorgeous. I love the colors. I love, everything about this, but it's not about the design. Let's jump in a little bit more. So they call it Sensi. I think it's Sensi. It could be Sensei, but I'm calling it Sensi, short for Sensible. We're going to jump into the locking in just a minute, and we're going to also take a look at the audit report and the white paper. So just time out on that. We'll jump into all that. But first, a high level. What the heck is this thing? So first, it is a burn token in the sense of there's a burn mechanism. A lot of the cryptos have really moved towards this, especially a lot of the Binance coin and the ETH-based tokens. They are using that reflect the RFI capability of having a burn mechanism. Now, all burn tokens are not the same. I say this on almost every video, right? And I'll say it again here. One burn token is not always like unto another. There's a bunch that are fly by night because there's literally no barrier to entry. If I wanted to create a burn token tomorrow, I certainly could. I just go copy and paste the contract code, create my own, and off to the races I go. But this is different. It's not a rug pull. We know who the founders are. We know the direction of it. It's not purely a utility based upon nothing but like meme generation. There's none of that in this crypto. It's really cool. So first of all, the burn mechanism itself, it's a 4% burn. And you can see this right here. They talk about this. 2% is burned on every transaction. 1% goes back to liquidity and 1 goes to all of the hodlers / charity. So normal mechanisms here, this makes it deflationary over time. The more users that get into it, the more we see burned, which makes the value of it go up because it's a deflationary currency. So we know that. We've talked about this a lot. But what are they trying to do? What's unique about it? Well, here it is right here. So what they're doing is giving you the capability to automatically get into yield farms. If you don't know a lot about yield farms, it's basically a way for you to take your crypto that's been that you own and to stake it and make some yield off of it as it grows over time. There's a bunch of these that are out there, and there's some really high profit, high dollar yields that you can go and discover and find, but many of them come with risks. And Sensible is really trying to figure out, how can I fix that problem? How can I reduce the risk, have some kind of curation and vetting inside of the actual yield farm itself, and produce back to the users a motivation, a reason, or a utility to use Sensi instead. And so we'll talk about how all that works. But they're even showing this here up to, it's not always going to be this way, but up to 3% yield. I mean, that's really awesome. A lot of us are always looking for, including myself, again, good yield farms. If I'm going to park some crypto and I'm not a day trader, you're always looking for a way to earn crypto while you're having it held. And so I'm a big fan of this. We'll jump into how that works a little bit more in just a minute. Of course, these big questions always come up. How do we protect all of this? How do we know it's safe? I mean, that's a great question. And so part of this is because they don't own the contract, and you will see this as well. I'll show you some of the contract audits. They're not directly managed with it. They're handling this from other contracts that they don't have ownership over. And then also you'll eventually see them, if I understand correctly the vision of the product, they'll eventually operate and open up access to other yield farms that they have vetted and they have done some research on. So I think that's great. I like that direction for sure. And so here's the roadmap, kind of where they're at. Again, keep in mind, this is a very early crypto. Like the idea was formed on March 10th. But you didn't even really see the token come out until late April. That's when the audit came out, and that's really where you began to see even late May when the exchanges listed it. So this is a brand new currency, and it really got started at the very top of the bull run, and we'll kind of see how that's impacted them now that we've gone into much more of a bear market. Some of you guys don't like it when I call it a bear market. I don't know for sure what I'm saying about this long term, but hey, look, I think we can all agree we're way under where we were at in the wonderful months of April and May, and that's okay. Crypto does this. So we're in some amount of a bear market right now. We'll see how long that's going to last. So there it is. You can see the tokenomics between this. We'll probably get back to this in a little bit more, where the rest of this goes. 10% into staking rewards, 10% is unallocated for future use. And you can see all the tokenomics here, what it's worth. So here's the Sensi team right here. And I did hear from Patrick, the CEO, every single member of the Sensi team, except for one, have all doxed themselves. They are all public. That's, again, just a good thing, just knowing the confidence of who the entire group is. And I'll show this. So here's Patrick. Here is the CEO. I know him. I've talked to him before. He comes out of both Microsoft and Google and some other places before that. So very excited. He's got a great pedigree and a great background. You can check out every single one of these profiles. And now that they're all public, you'll see the LinkedIn tags coming for each one of those, which is a really, really good thing. So the next thing I wanted to do is I wanted to dive in a little bit into the white paper, because there's some really good stuff that we can glean from the white paper. This is not like, I see a lot of white papers that look like academic papers. This is more marketing driven than it is like a true academic white paper. That's okay, because this project is pretty easy to understand, so but it's beautifully designed. I will give it that. So let me skip by all this stuff. I've talked about a lot of these things. We'll find out what the charity donations are going to be. I definitely love that. I'm a huge fan of all that for sure. So you can see how the smart staking works right here. It's a combination of your BNB tokens being selected into currently 10 yield farms and 5 high return staking pools. I'll show this to you in a minute so you can see how it works. Let's talk a little bit about how the smart staking works, because I think this is important for the mechanism to really understand how there's utility here that's distinct and differentiated from other projects. So here's what happens when you take your BNB and you stake it into a farm. And we've talked about why we like to stake, right? You're going to earn some amount of interest off of it. That yield or that interest that you earn is paid out in BNB, but the Sensi platform itself has a swap mechanism. Now, many other cryptos have these swap mechanisms. I cover FEG quite a bit. It's got its own swap mechanism as an example. And so what happens is as your BNB is you get yield off it, that's the best way to say it, it will convert automatically to Sensi via their swap. And once that goes to you, part of it's going to go into the wallet, and then part of it's going to be locked into the plan itself, which we'll kind of explain in just a minute how all of that works. 3% of that yield value, though, is used to create value in the ecosystem and to continue to promote and further make sure that the Sensi ecosystem stays healthy. So 2% of it goes back to the hodlers, people like you and people like me. So it's nice to see that. It's nice to see that we're all earning from each other, right? We're incentivized to hold is what it's really all about, and to prevent people from having a mass sellout. That's where these burn tokens are really trying to, truly be all about. But then 1% is burned forever. That's what creates the deflationary aspect, all of it. So there you go. That's how all of that works. But notice in blue as well, there's some additional things that happen here as well. So part of the yield, 2% of this remains in the staking system. So as the yield is created and it goes to you via Sensi, also some of the BNB yield is saved and set aside, a very small amount. See, this is just 2%. And how does that work? What happens there? Well, there's two things. You see it kind of tree out or fork from here. 1% of that BNB goes directly back into the staking pool. Why? Well, it's important to make sure the staking pools continue to grow with their own BNB reserves, to grow the capital, to make sure that the whole thing stays healthy and it grows over time to incentivize both the creators of Sensi and people like you and me that want to know, I've got some comfortability in holding this thing. And then also 1% is retained against insurance, loss of funds to help fund marketing, all that. And that's really right there. If I'm going to circle this with my mouse, this right here that's their benefit. That's Sensi's benefit of creating all this for us. They're going to be making 1% yield out of all of us. And I'm super okay with that as long as the technology works and we can trust them. So they also talk a little bit more about how staking versus their SmartStake is different and the advantages you get out of it. And they really talk about this right here. So they talk about they're the ones that check the contracts to make sure that they're safe. They're the ones that do the work just to vet it and curate it to make sure, and then they spread it across multiple different platforms. And the reason that's important is this is just like why I might do a mutual fund. Instead of putting all of my stock into just one company, a mutual fund lets me spread it out, thereby spreading out the risk. Let's say 10 do really well, but one totally fails. Well, that one that totally failed is offset by the others that are doing good. And that's the whole idea behind all of this that causes the growth and reduces the risk as we go through the platform. I'm going to skip by the roadmap, but you're welcome to read this and definitely should if you're interested in jumping into all of this. But this helps us understand where they are going, including even some of their, like what they're calling their AI augmented systems, which will just help drive decisions in the platform and find the best yield farms, all of that, at least in theory. So I'm excited to see all that happen for sure. About 5,000 holders, so that's good. 6 million market cap, at least at the time of the white paper creation. That's going to change a little bit, as it will show in just a minute, and that's okay. Healthy, growing community, 2.5 thousand members inside of the platform that's probably like mostly in Telegram is what I'm guessing. So good to see some users that are in there, but this is definitely small, right? This is growing. This is really, really early, which is why I wanted to cover it on this channel, because I think a lot of you guys are going to see this and be like, yeah, this is cool. I'm always looking for very small 1 million to 5 million market cap crypto projects that show a lot of promise, that I know who the founders are, all that kind of stuff. So nice to see that there. It's off Pancake Swap, which we'll jump into in a little bit. So that's a high level view of the entire Sensi project from the white paper perspective. I did quickly want to show the Techrate audit. A lot of these tokens, you do want to have some insight into the audits themselves. Techrate is not one of my more favorite auditors, so to speak. They don't always jump into what I would say some of the things that like average users really want to know about the contracts. But what I want to do is just kind of zoom into no high or medium severity. So that's good. I wouldn't expect there to be anyway. But the owner privilege stuff, I wish that Techrate would dive in more into this of like helping the common person understand what the risks are for all of this. In some cases, if I don't know who the owners are and it's a completely anonymous project, I want to see as few owner privileges as possible. But in this case, again, as I said before, because we know the owners, they've doxed themselves, we know the CEO, they have skin in the game, we know who they are, I'm okay with a lot of these things. Most of this is around their ability to change taxes and fees and burn mechanisms and all that kind of stuff. So I'm okay with this simply because I know who the founders are. Next thing I want to do is jump a little bit into just the tokenomics and the price history for all of this. So we're sitting at about a $4 million fully diluted market cap. You guys know fully diluted means if you assume all of the crypto is already out there on the market, which with a lot of these burn tokens, it is. So it's a very low trading volume over the past day, just 25,000. So this is how you know it's very young, very new. It's definitely a small market cap crypto that has a lot of potential for growth. And when you see this all go red, don't be alarmed by this, right? They just, when they created, they were at the top of the market and the market came crashing down. If you compare this, and I would take the same snippet with pretty much any other crypto that's out there, it's all going to show red too over this time. So don't look at this and be like, oh no, this thing has, absolutely no utility at all. It's super scary and is going nowhere, just down, to just to blow up and hit a crater in the earth. No. It's just the timing of when Sensi was created. You can also see some interesting things here. You can see these huge run-ups and drop-offs. There's one here on volume, there's one here, there's one here, there's one here. So definitely a lot of activity for people that probably got in really early and just attempting to do some pumps and dumps. Those things happen a lot. But then you hit the stability here once we really kind of began to hit the bottom of the market. And so volume is low. We're not seeing a lot of that activity down here again in these huge volume, spike ups and drop offs. So I think that's good, right? I'm not bothered at all by the price history there. I think it's got a lot of potential future for sure, and really like where it's going. So the last thing I wanted to show you is it's not just I like where it's going. We're going to dive into this and I'm going to actually approve a contract. So if you want to get here, going back to the main website, the very, very top, let me show this to you. Right here, you can click on this Sensi locking, and this is going to take you right here to their staking mechanism. So in order to do this, you need to have your BNB and or your Sensi already created, already ready to go, locked and good. So I have my Sensi. It's already ready. I've connected it to MetaMask on the Binance chain. You'll need to do all of those things. And also OBS that I'm using to create this video won't show MetaMask. So you'll miss that part of it. It doesn't matter too much anyway. So here is the balance that's in the pool right now. So you can see it looks like 8,602,308,000,000 that are sitting there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to approve the contract. So it's going to be locked for 28 days. But then the rewards come out daily. So I'm gonna hit approve contract. And then again, you can't see this, but Trust Wallet's come up. It's asking me to approve the transaction fee. It's the low cost of 10 cents US dollar, super cheap. Thank you, Binance. And I hit approve. So the contract has been approved. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to max out my Sensi. So there we go. I've got the max here, and then I'm gonna hit lock now. And it's going to ask me once again, MetaMask has come back up. It's wanting me to approve this transaction. I am going to hit confirm on it. And I appear to be off to the races. There we go. So it looks like it's locked. Let's hit refresh here. And indeed, here it is. So you can see I have mine now locked. I have no reward amount because I just started it. So we'll track this over time. And I want to see how this grows. I want to see what I get out of it. I just want to see my overall impressions of using this as a yield farm. A couple of things I would like to see is I'd like to get some more data and details in terms of which yield farms I'm using, what the growth rates are between all of them. I'd love to even see, is there a mechanism by which I can control how much go to each yield farm? Is the AI mechanisms over time going to handle all that for me? I'm eager to see how all those things work, but I will walk you through the rest of all of this. Here's the dashboard itself. You can see I have no balance of Sensi because I've already locked it all. So you can see what's been locked away. We can see the new plan. This is the one I've deposited. I've got it all up and running. So again, we'll have to come back and see how this works over time. Here's the smart staking. This is coming soon. This is probably what I just mentioned, where I can see how much is balanced between which and all of that. Leaderboards, I've never really looked at that. Again, probably coming soon as well. And then the Sensi relay lets me trade tokens between, I'm guessing if more tokens come in, this is sort of like a way to allow swing traders to be able to do transactions inside of the Sensi network that keeps the fees completely free and incentivizes day traders, is what I'm assuming this is all about. So here we are. That is Sensible. You can see how I now have it staked. I'm very eager to kind of see over time what this does, what the yield looks like. This may be something I may continue to grow and send a lot more of my BNB as I hold it over to this, because the reality is oftentimes you may be sitting on a bunch of BNB, you're not ready to use it for anything, and you certainly want to make some yield out of it. And why not make yield if we think Sensible and Sensi itself is really going to go somewhere, and you like the idea of it handling the yield farms for you? I think that's powerful. I think it's a really exciting way to be able to just hold some of your crypto in a risk-reduced way way because we're spreading that risk out of multiple yield farms. So there you have it. That's Sensible Finance. Really excited about it. I think it's got a lot of potential. I like that we know who the founders are. I like that we have some good visibility into what the project is doing, and I think it is solving some challenges in the yield farm world for just regular users like you and me that don't want to dive into this every single day, constantly hunting down the best yields, but just want to let the machine analysis store it and reduce my risk across multiple yield farms. So I'd love to know what you think about it. Are you using Sensi? If you have, how'd you find out about it? What do you like about it? What questions do you have? You are just a couple questions in the comments below all about Sensi. I'd love to know your thoughts across the board, and I'm excited to go down this journey and produce some follow-up videos so we can kind of see how my investment has done over time. All right, guys, thank you so much.